Guys, what has been this season of Jujutsu Kaisen so far? Like, this shit is actually insane. We go from the most bittersweet, punched in the gut, rip our hearts out kind of episode from last week to just straight hands and pure chaos this week. Dude, this episode, I can tell, without even reading the manga, just from an anime-only perspective, I can tell this episode today has so many repercussions for later down the line in our show. It's actually insane how much stuff happens in this episode. So let's just get straight into the insanity and talk about Jujutsu Kaisen Season 2, Episode 4 today. Our episode begins on the pure bitterness that we left off on last week, and we get straight into it. No sweet talk, nothing like that. We throw hands immediately. Ghetto is not having a conversation right now. But it's here. Our boy Toji has to slow him down and say, hey, don't be so impatient. We'll get to that. And it's here as he starts literally walking with Ghetto. He starts monologuing to him. Like, the tombs of the star and the forbidden vault use barriers that conceal. So they can't place guards at the entrances. But as long as you know where the doors are, they're full of holes. It's pure chaos outside right now. But get this, since I have no cursed energy, I'm like the invisible man right now. But I do have one problem. If I use the cursed tool, the cursed energy from it will stop me from being said invisible man. And it's here as we literally see Ghetto try to sneak attack him. He just so casually continues his story like, hold on, there's more to this. As he explains to Ghetto that, you see, I keep a cursed spirit capable of storing objects around. As he tells him, I know, you ain't gotta say it. Yes, that means the cursed energy from the cursed spirit should stop me from being an invisible man. As he literally coughs up a spirit and says, so I make the cursed spirit smaller until it can fit inside my body. The organs of the invisible man are invisible too, right? Perfect camouflage. That's how I'm able to pass through any barrier while still carrying all kinds of cursed tools. That's also why I didn't use a cursed tool at first. As he explains that, you see, a surprise attack on the Six Eyes would be pointless if I wasn't invisible. Just the sheer mind games he's playing with Ghetto right now is freaking awesome, man. I'm loving it. As Ghetto just tells him, alright, enough of this bullshit. You have a heavenly pact, right? I know revealing information about your ability increases its fundamental strength, just like for a sorcerer. That's why he's monologuing and explaining this to him. That info is not important though, as Ghetto then asks, how'd you know which doors led to the tombs of the star? We didn't leave even the slightest of residuals. As Toji tells him, please, humans leave plenty of traces aside from residuals, like scents, footprints, and so on. My pact enhances all 5 of my senses too, you know. And it's here Ghetto asks what happened to Kuroe. As Toji says, oh, the maid? Ah, she's probably dead. I didn't care if she lived or died. If she's lucky, she might still be alive. And upon hearing that, Ghetto's had enough as he attacks Toji, who is more than prepared for it. And this fight is fierce, guys. People have been complaining all season that the animation for Jujutsu Kaisen Season 2 hasn't been as good as Season 1. But this fight is crazy. Ghetto's throwing everything he has at Toji, and this man is just casually slapping it aside like it's nothing. Toji is a true monster. As he says, curse manipulation, huh? You're just riffraff. And it's here as everything freezes. We see Ghetto uses another cursed spirit, as Toji says. A potential apparition? It deploys a simple domain that enforces non-violence on both of us until I answer its question, huh? And it's here Toji just answers by saying, yeah, girl, you're not my type, sorry. But then easily shatters this domain with his curse tool. But in this split second, we see Ghetto spring into action as he tries to absorb the cursed spirit that Toji has with him. That is his ability, after all. But we see he fails as Toji uses that instant to slice this man up like Thanksgiving turkey. And as the smoke clears, he tells him, I didn't cut you badly enough to kill you. I would have killed you if you were a Shikigami user. But since it's curse manipulation, there's no telling what might happen to the cursed spirits you've absorbed after you die. I don't want extra trouble here. Just the pure disrespect here is wild, man. As he says, you have the blessing of parentage. But even with that blessing, you were all beaten by a monkey like me who can't even use curse techniques. If you want to live a long life, never forget that. And it's here he remembers a blessing of his own, as he finally does remember Megami, his son. What an actual menace, guys. Holy shit. And as we transition to our next scene, we're gonna see the insanity of humanity on full display. As we transition to the Star Religious Group's headquarters, as we see Toji delivering Riko's body to them. As their representative tells them, we'll issue your payment as we discussed. But it's here, Toji's handler kind of questions that, saying, will you really now? I know it was a necessary expense, but you've already helped us out a lot too. I thought you'd be complaining a lot more, honestly. And it's here he tells them that, we hired you for this assassination, expecting it would fail. Our Star Religious Group was founded in the Nara era, when Tengen began preaching about the moral foundation of Jujutsu sorcerers. As he explains that Jujutsu society and religious corporations are at complete odds with each other. And that strain is what gave birth to our modern Star Religious Group, the Time Vassal Association. That's also why we've devoted ourselves to remaining non-sorcerers. As he explains that Jujutsu sorcerers are granted many privileges above the law, but they're still fundamentally forbidden to lay a hand on non-sorcerers. However, our time has finally arrived. The time of the taboo recorded in our scriptures. Our Star Religious Group has evolved into a monotheistic religion worshipping one absolute God. And it was time for our object of worship to assimilate with that impurity. If our believers saw us simply sit back and watch the assimilation happen, our association would crumble. Yet if we took excessive action, Jujutsu sorcerers would crush us. We were truly desperate. As he explains to them that we thought we were going to lose everything, and now we have it all. Of course that would loosen our purse strings. But it's here the handler asks him, human society might be what crumbles if Tengen loses control, As the representative tells him, if that should perish along with our star, then that is all there is to it. And our boy Toji says it best himself right here, saying that this dude is fucking crazy, man. And it's here as they're leaving this place, Toji asks him, were you referring to Okinawa when you said they helped us? And as he tells him, yeah, Toji asks him, why didn't you kill the maid then? As he says, I told you to take her someplace far away and kill her at some point. As he tells Toji that I had a good idea of what you were planning at the time, that's why I didn't. I made the call that the relief from the maid's successful rescue would wear him down more than heightened tensions from failure. Really just showcasing that these two truly played them insanely. They figured everything else out beforehand. They had them in the palm of their hand. As we hear, it all worked out in the end, didn't it? As Toji asks him, okay, but why'd they go to Okinawa though? As the handler tells him, normally you'd use a car to transport a captive, right? Public transportation carries too many risks after all. But get this, The president owned his own private jet. Rich people just think on a different scale, man. They're crazy. That they are, guys. That they are. And it's here as Toji's leaving this place on his own. We just see Gojo standing there as he tells him, hey, it's been a while. And even Toji's shocked as he realizes that it's a reversed curse technique. As Gojo tells him, bingo, and it's here he starts explaining it as he says, when you stabbed me through the throat, I gave up on attacking and poured all my focus into the reverse curse technique. Cursed energy is negative energy. While it can enhance the body, it can't regenerate it. So you multiply that negative energy against itself to create positive energy. That's the reverse curse technique, and that's how I'm alive. As he adds, I've never been able to do it until now. As Toji realizes that, Gojo's high right now. He has so much energy, cursed energy in him right now, that it's kind of euphoric for him. He's quite literally high off of it. As Gojo says, the reason you're going to lose is because you didn't chop my head off, and because you didn't use that cursed tool when you stabbed my head. As Toji tells him, please, our fight is just getting started. But it's here as our fight begins. Things are not going to go like last time. Gojo's prepared now. As he uses his curse technique reversal. Red. And sends Toji flying. The first good hit he's actually got on him. As Toji's just looking at this man floating and says, you are a literal monster. And it's here as he's figuring out Gojo's abilities. He thinks he has him pegged. He thinks he has this won. He realizes something's off. But he doesn't care as he still attacks this man. And it's here as Gojo is literally casually avoiding these attacks. He thinks to himself, I'm sorry, Rico. I'm not even angry over you right now. I bear no grudge against anyone. It's just that the world feels so wonderful right now. As this man is literally just soaking everything in right now. Just experiencing everything all at once. As he tells Toji, throughout heaven and earth, I alone am the honored one. And it's here Gojo starts explaining that. The merit of having a technique that's passed down throughout generations is having a user's manual for it. But the drawback is that information about the technique is easily leaked. You were a member of the Zenin clan, weren't you? That's why you know so much about the Limitless Technique. However, even in the Gojo clan, only a select few know about this. Take the amplified and the reversal, then smash together those two different expressions of infinity to create and push out imaginary mass. As he uses imaginary technique, purple. And it's here as the attack's heading towards him. We just hear Toji say again that something's off. As he says, I refuse to do work for free. Normally I would have said that and hightailed it out of here. Yet the freshly awakened wielder of the Limitless Technique was right before my eyes. He was probably the strongest Jujutsu sorcerer of the modern age. I wanted to reject him. I wanted to bring him to his knees. I wanted to take down the pinnacle of the Jujutsu world and the Zenin clan that rejected me. I twisted myself to try to affirm myself. And that was the moment I lost. As we see half of his body is blown away. And as he's just standing here reflecting in this, he thinks, I thought I had abandoned my pride. I thought I had chosen to live without respecting myself or anyone else. As he thinks of his wife and Megami. And it's here Gojo asks if he has any last words, as he tells him, nah. But it's here as he thinks of Megami. He swallows that pride and tells Gojo, 2 or 3 years from now, my kid will be sold off to the Zenin clan. Do what you will with that. And after saying that, he literally dies on his feet right then and there. And that explains why Gojo goes and specifically finds Megami in Season 1. That explains a lot. And it's here as we transition to Ghetto, healed up, tracking down the location of the Star Religious Group's headquarters. He opens the door and just sees monsters. People smiling, happy, clapping away as Gojo carries out Riko's body. As Ghetto says, Satoru, is that you? What the hell happened? As Gojo tells him, I screwed up. You're not at fault. And then adds, Suguru, should we kill these guys? The way I feel right now, I doubt I'd feel anything about it. And it's here we see Ghetto trying to make excuses here, saying, no, this wouldn't solve anything. There's no point in doing it. As Gojo says, no point, huh? Does there really need to be any point to it? And as Ghetto soaks those words in, along with the clapping around him, he says, it's very important that there is, especially for a Jujutsu sorcerer. And on that note, our episode ends. And this is a very heavy scene at the end, guys, because I'm pretty sure he does end up killing them here. And that's wild to me that Gojo is the one that pushed him to do it. That's wild to me. Gojo's a little bit at fault then for Ghetto starting to go down this path, if you think about it then. That's wild. This episode was insane, guys. From start to finish, this was insane. I really feel like Toji is a really misunderstood character at this point now. Like, I already know we're going to see more of him later down the line. I don't know the specifics, but I do know that we're going to see a little more of him later. And I'm very interested now because he clearly feels like a very misunderstood character. Still fucked up what he did, but pretty misunderstood it feels like at the same time. Just, Jujutsu Kaisen has been killing it, guys. And this episode might be one of the most impactful of the entire series. Just wow. I would love to hear your guys' thoughts on this insane episode down in the comments. Please let me know what you're thinking, because for me, this shit was crazy. And until next time, guys, I hope you guys have a great day, week, month, and year. And until then, deuces, have a blessed day, and I will see you guys next time. Deuces.